Power rankings for Week 4, which begins tomorrow night with two of the worst teams in the NFL, the Broncos and the Jets. Let's focus on the top for now, though, and it was the showdown. And last week, there was a question from Christopher Sims. Did you consider making the Ravens number 1 over the Chiefs? I said the Ravens have to beat the Kings of the Hill before they get to the top of the hill. They had their chance. It didn't work. And there are consequences. Just like elections have consequences, football games have consequences. The Ravens dropped down 4 spots by virtue of losing to the Chiefs. And let me start there, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you agree with me putting the Ravens behind the Seahawks, the Patriots, and the other 2 teams? The graphic went away, and I can't remember who they are, but they are behind 4 teams now, in addition to the team they lost to on Monday night.
No, I don't agree with you there. I don't. I would have probably moved them to either that 3 or 4 position. I can understand you having New England where they are. Yes, but no, I think ultimately I probably would have had the Ravens at 3 at this point. It's a tough matchup. They played a special player, caught him on a bad night, all of that. But man, the Ravens, I'm not panicked about them as a football team. Am I a little concerned about, can they win enough games in the playoffs this way? Yeah, a little bit. But I think you went a little low with them. I just don't think I could take the Bills and the Bills and the Packers and straight up matchup with the Ravens right now. I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, but I feel differently about the Ravens after what I saw.
Yeah, that's fine.
Night.
That's your rankings.
They didn't keep it as close as we thought it was going to be.
Right.
And I think part of it too is when you've gotten yourself excited for a great game and the game doesn't deliver, you got to take out your frustration on somebody. You can't take it out on the team that won.
Yeah.
So you take it out on the team that lost.
Right.
How dare you
do that?
How dare you not entertain us? We did want to be entertained.
Monday night was ruined.
We were not entertained. You ruined Monday night. You're banished to number 6 on the power rankings. I mean, I'm willing to admit it. That was part of the thinking. I was pissed off that the Ravens didn't give us the game that we were thinking we were going to get.
I get you. I hear you. And, you probably could frame that to part of your argument, that when they seem to play teams that are just equal to them or that way, that, there's certainly questions there. So, I get it. I understand what you're saying. It was unimpressive looking. And, to what we said yesterday, 34-20, no. No. I mean, really, that game was 44-10. It might have been 51-10. I don't know what it was. That's really the way the game looked on the field. Let me ask you this just about 1 and 2. How significant or how big is the gap between Chiefs at 1 and Seahawks 2 for you right now?
Boy, I'd love to find out in February. I hope you're even though
You're so mad you didn't pick that, right? You're just like, that was so obvious, and I didn't pick it, and I don't know why. I really thought of you on that one. I did. I went with my gut feeling.
Yeah, because I know, here's the thing. Even if you get that right, nobody cares. And if you go too far outside the box, you can never live it down. I remember there was a year where I thought, okay, here's what happens. One team that makes it to the Super Bowl is the team we expected. The other team often is a team that we weren't really thinking about. So I remember it was Washington. I said they're going to make it to the Super Bowl this year. And, of course, they weren't very good. And it took several years before people would leave me alone about that. So it makes sense to stay within the buoys of reasonableness, but there is a chance someone's going to rise up. But for now, I wish they played in the regular season, and I'd love to see the Chiefs and the Seahawks on the same field. And it's making me root for, if it can't be my Buccaneers-Patriots matchup, I'm rooting for the Seahawks and the Chiefs because that would be a hell of a game. And I wish they could play this week.
Right, yeah, I hear you. It would be a hell of a game. I mean, I don't know. The scoreboard might blow up in that one. It would be so fun to watch. All right, where do you want to go?
All right.
I got an issue with you having the Steelers at 9. You should have them in front of the Titans and Buccaneers.
Why?
I just, the Steelers defense is Super Bowl caliber. I know they haven't, played the best games yet. But
they haven't. Their teams, their 3 opponents are all winless.
I get that.
They've let teams hang around. Well, they didn't let the Texans hang around. They had to come back and beat the Texans. But their opponents haven't won a game.
No, I know. But, I still would look at them just to go with the Buccaneers, who have played the Broncos and the Jaguars, and a Saints team that we're not that sure about. And I'd go, I feel more comfortable with the Steelers over the Titans and the Bucs right now. Not that it's by a landslide. I'm just telling you where I am. I get where you are there. I get it. The Steelers have not dominated a team from start to finish yet.
Bucs have beaten the Panthers and the Broncos, not the Jaguars.
Oh, sorry, I meant to. One of those cats,
1995.
Yeah, right.
One of those teams that entered. They're that vague. They're always connected because for those of us who have been paying attention to football for a long time, they entered the NFL at the same time in 1995. So even there is no other connection between those two teams. The fact they just like the Bucs and the Seahawks, two teams. It's happened twice in my lifetime. Well, since I've been paying attention to football, where teams have entered the league, the Bucs and the Seahawks, and the Jaguars and the Panthers. So anyway, the Bucs. Okay. I've got them at number 8 now. The Saints, who beat Tampa Bay week 1, are at number 10 after losing to the Packers. Do we think – now, there's a one-game lead right now for Tampa Bay over New Orleans. They get a rematch coming up later in the year at Tampa Bay. Are the Buccaneers ahead of the Saints right now in your mind as the favorites to win the NFC South?
No, not yet, but I do like what you're kind of seeing develop in that, Buccaneers football team. I want to take a closer look at that Broncos game and kind of really watch it on coach's film. I kind of just watched the TV version back just to get a feel for the game. But, again, Brady looked as comfortable as I've seen him look so far just from that, TV glance on Sunday and what he did. And, again, I thought the offense, too, for the second week in a row, had a lot of his handprints on it, definitely. And then I think the most encouraging thing with the Bucs is they have an overwhelming front at times, and their defense seems like it's getting it together. We knew they were dominant up front. I think it was about the secondary. That's where I just want to see it a little bit because they haven't played, an offense that's really aggressive and can push the ball down the field quite yet or anything like that. But, I mean, they have some pieces where you certainly got to recognize them and go, whoa. And it does seem like it's slowly but surely coming together for them.
I dropped the 49ers out of the top 10 all the way to number 13 after beating the Jets 31-13 because of all the injuries, because Jimmy Garoppolo was out. Nick Bosa's done for the year. Solomon Thomas done for the year.
Yeah.
11 guys unavailable, starters unavailable for the game against the Giants. And then they go out and they destroy the Giants. They dismantle the Giants. And now the 49ers creeping their way back up. They're 2-1. They are in the mix in the NFC West and definitely in the mix for a wild card berth. How long will it work with Nick Mullins? Is this something that's sustainable until Jimmy Garoppolo can come back? And do they have a situation where they could apply the time-honored 100% rule to Jimmy Garoppolo, where Kyle Shanahan decides Jimmy G's on the sidelines until he's 100%, and he's not 100% until Nick Mullins loses his magic?
Well, this will be a different test this week. I mean, the Eagles' defense has been, giving some teams some headaches. So it's not going to be the Giants, where they're clearly the better team on the football field and, playing some team that's rebuilding. But I have no concerns about Nick Mullins. I mean, really, I have no concerns about Nick Mullins. One, he got to play extended periods of time 2 years ago, did well, made some stupid, young quarterback mistakes, but still had some games and some moments where we went, whoa. I mean, he's doing some special things here. And even in that same year, C.J. Beathard did some of that. So my point is, Shanahan's going to get people open and move the football. He is a genius that way. He is going to crack the code almost weekly in the NFL to some extent. Last week he cracked it through his drop-back pass game. Oh, you want to take away the run game and do all that? Okay, cool. All right, well, here, now I got something for you here. And Mullins, slowly but surely started to pick apart that defense. I do think they can make it work. And as they slowly get more healthy here, I think they'll continue to climb your power rankings. And we've talked about their favorable schedule works out for them. They certainly can beat the Eagles this week with Nick Mullins. There's no doubt about that. But I'm not ready to sit here and just say, like, Nick Mullins is better than Jimmy Garoppolo, if that's what you're trying to egg me on to say or do anything like that.
I'm not trying to. Yeah. No, I'm just trying to say, do you ride with the hot hand and do you let Jimmy Garoppolo get to 100% so he has his full mobility with no limitations? Right. High ankle sprain takes 6 weeks to heal. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to start trouble.
Oh, I got you.
Right now.
Right.
The trouble comes later.
Right.
I mean, look,
you evaluate it as you go and see where it is from there. The shame of it is Jimmy G was playing great when he got hurt against the Jets. I mean, even battling through that and all of that, he looked sharp. So that should at least leave a good memory in Shanahan and the coaching staff's brain there. But yeah, there's no rush if Nick Mullins plays the way he did last week.
The back half of the power ranking, 17-32, has 3 of the NFC East teams. Washington at 24, the Eagles at 26, the Giants at 31. The Cowboys just on the other side of that graphic at 15. They're 1-2, Washington's 1-2, Philly's 0-2-1, the Giants 0-3. I think that the Cowboys are in the driver's seat in that division, even though they've lost 2 games. They could have won both of the games they lost. They arguably should have won the first game of the season against the Rams. I mean, they have played a tough schedule.
Right.
The Falcons aren't a tough team, but it was a tough game to come from behind and win it.
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys are clearly the best team in that division. Do you agree?
Agreed. I do. I do. I don't care that they're 1-2. It means nothing to me. You're right. The Rams and the Seahawks are good. I wouldn't, The Cowboys could get another crack at both of those teams in the playoffs. I mean, they're playoff caliber teams the way it looks right now. And the Falcons game, I think you could still say there's a lot of good things about it for the Dallas team. I mean, Dallas, they messed that game up early. They did. I mean, gosh, 3 turnovers right to start the game. The Falcons had the short field 5 times, and they only let up 2 touchdowns, and the rest were field goals. So there's things to build off. They got a chance right now. I mean, they got the Browns this week. We know that'll be a pretty good test. That's 2 talented teams on the field together. Then the Giants, the Cardinals, the Washington football team, and the Philadelphia Eagles. Their schedule sets up for them to go on a run here, and we'll see where that does go. They're interesting, Mike. I mean, to me, it's like a changing team. I'm not so sure they're not going to go Seattle mode here too, because I don't think their offensive line is dominant anymore. Those days are done. They're not going to be able to just run the ball, control the clock, and then have a good defense to go with it like we saw in 2014 or 2016. I don't think they're capable of that. They got to go greatest show on turf, and I don't think their defense is good enough to slow a lot of good offenses down either, to where you're going to be able to play like ball control style football. I think they almost have to go Seattle mode to a degree and just let it fly and put pressure on teams with their offense and all the great weapons they got on that side of the ball.
The Cowboys have the second best odds to win their division according to PointsBet, minus 271. You bet 271 to win 100. The only other team with better odds to win, the Chiefs, at minus 1667. I mean, basically give them the crown right now after what we've seen from them and after what we haven't seen from the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Broncos, although the Chargers did push the Chiefs to overtime. So, there's still some tough games there. And as we said yesterday, the only way you're going to beat the Chiefs is if it's in a game where they don't have their full focus. When they have their full focus, they are very hard to beat.
Yeah.
The Cardinals apparently didn't have their full focus on Sunday, Chris. They're at number 17 after losing to the Lions. My concern with the Cardinals is this. If you're a good team, if you're breaking into that category of the upper half of the league, on your way to the upper echelon, or echelons as the case may be, you beat the teams you're supposed to beat. You don't lose to the Lions. That's, to me, always a mark of a team that is truly among the best. The best teams show up and win every week against the teams they're supposed to beat. You're going to maybe, if you're lucky, split the games with the teams you're not supposed to beat. You need to win the games that you can put in that easy W column, or your season goes sideways quickly.
No, I mean, you're right. There's no doubt about that. You are. I still think there's a lot of things to be positive about with the Arizona football team, though. I do think that. They kind of blew it. One of the reasons they blew it, and they played a team that matches up pretty well with their style of football. I think between, Matt Patricia coming from New England and like the old story of, Belichick struggled with mobile quarterbacks, right? Well, the last few years of Patricia being in New England and Belichick, they figured out a pretty good formula to, beat Patrick Mahomes twice in the same year and things like that to start stopping these type of quarterbacks from taking over the game. And Murray was attacked in that game, I think, differently than probably he ever was in his career, other than maybe playing Detroit last year. They're phenomenal at keeping you in the pocket, doing all those things. They never really let Murray run the whole day. He had 2 scrambles, and that was it. And he's been electric doing that the first 2 weeks before that. And then Murray made 3, bad interceptions that he usually doesn't make. So they had a chance, certainly, to win that game. They did. He made mistakes, and I think they played a team that was desperate and all that. Either way, I'm saying if there's a loss that you can deal with, or at least I look at as a guy that's talking on TV with you, I go, there was some things that I liked about that loss and the way that Cardinals team looks. Like, they're for real. I don't think they're like going to melt away or disappear from this playoff conversation. From what I've seen in 3 weeks, I think they're going to hang around all year long and be a player in this NFC as we go.
Yeah, I agree, and I hope that's the case just because I think Kyler Murray is spectacular. The team needs to have a higher profile, and I want to see what they do in the playoffs against the best teams in the conference. And we've already seen what they did at San Francisco. We'll see them against the Rams twice, and we're going to see them coming up against the Seahawks twice. And before that, Week 6 Monday night game against the Dallas Cowboys. That should be a great one.
Good ones.
The Browns are at number 18, and I remember after that first game loss to the Ravens 38-6 and all the dysfunction, I dropped them down to 32 just to prove a point. They're now up to 18. They've won 2 in a row. Has something fundamentally changed about the team, or are they just fortunate they've played a couple of teams that aren't that great, Chris?
Well, yes, but I think we've seen some change. And, I think we've talked about it a lot. And it's something that we both sat there and kind of banged the table about after week 1 that we wanted to see. And we've seen it 2 weeks in a row, which is stop worrying about, the headlines or the letters in the big lights, the stars, the passing game, Mayfield, Odell, Jarvis Landry. Damn it, Cleveland, the best thing you do is run the ball, and Nick Chubb is arguably the best running back in football. We've seen them 2 weeks in a row play through the run, and they're a more effective football team that way. It helps their defense. It helps Baker Mayfield. And I think, eventually it's going to help that passing game, too, to kind of take that next step to where we have a game where we're going to go, whoa, there's the passing offense. It clicked. So they're one of those teams here where it's like, not sure about them, like the Cardinals a little, but there's things I see about them I like, and I'm starting to go, all right, I'm not saying they're going to the playoffs, but they're starting to look like they could be a team that can be in that conversation. Not quite as confident as I am with the Cardinals, but I think things are going in the right direction.
Stick with the run, stick with the run, stick with the run, and that is the key. And that game against Washington, it really wasn't an overpowering. The final score suggested a bigger margin. It felt like the Browns were in control all day long. But the Browns of a year or two ago, maybe last year specifically,
found a way
to crumble, find a way to screw it up, get frustrated because we feel like we're outplaying this team, but it's not showing up on the scoreboard. They just continue to go about their business, and here they are at 2-1. All right, we're going to take a break. When we return, our draft for this Wednesday edition of PFT Live, the best weapons, non-quarterbacks, the best weapons through 3 weeks in the NFL. Let's shine a spotlight on the guys who are getting it done without taking the snaps on every play.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.